Ferrari built the most powerful road car in their history. It has a V6 engine, and the moment that was announced, half the automotive world lost its mind. A V6 in a Ferrari hypercar, the successor to the screaming V12 LaFerrari. 6 cylinders where 12 had always been. The outrage was immediate. The verdict was swift. Ferrari had compromised. Ferrari had gone soft. The soul of the brand had been quietly exchanged for emissions paperwork and efficiency targets. And then the car lapped Fiorano. What happened next is what this video is about. 10 facts, 1 car, and a question that cuts to the heart of what Ferrari actually is. Did they betray their heritage with a V6? Or did they perfect the future of internal combustion? Fact number 1. Ferrari only does this once a decade. Most manufacturers operate on a relentless cycle of refreshes and updates. New colors, new screens, new aerodynamic packages calibrated to quarterly targets. Ferrari participates in all of that. But hidden inside that production calendar, once every decade or so, something else happens entirely. The market stops mattering. The press cycle stops mattering. Ferrari reaches into the deepest layer of their racing program, extracts the most advanced technology in their possession, and builds a strictly limited road car around it. Not to sell volume, not to satisfy a trend, to mark a moment in engineering history. These are the Special Series cars. The 288 GTO in 1984, the F40 in 1987, the F50 in 1995, the Enzo in 2002, the LaFerrari in 2013. Each one the most powerful, most technologically advanced road car Ferrari had ever produced at the time of its release. Each one an immediate icon. Each one worth multiples of its original price today. The F40, which Enzo Ferrari himself called the greatest car his company ever built, sold new for approximately $400,000. It now trades in the $3 million range, with exceptional examples reaching considerably higher. The Enzo, originally listed at approximately $659,000 in 2002, has reached $17 million at auction. The LaFerrari, priced at approximately $1.4 million at launch, now trades in the $4 to $5 million range, with the most desirable examples exceeding that. Every single car in this lineage has appreciated, without exception, without failure. The Ferrari F80 is the 6th, 799 units, $3.9 million each. Production running from 2025 through 2027. You are buying a place in a 40-year tradition that has never once been wrong. Fact number 2. Every Special Series car was a direct mirror of Ferrari's racing program at the moment it was built. This is not incidental, it is the entire point, and it is the key that unlocks everything about the F80. Ferrari has followed this principle without exception since 1984. In the 1980s, Formula One ran turbocharged engines. The 288, GTO, and F40 both used twin turbo V8 power plants. In the mid-1990s, Grand Prix racing moved to naturally aspirated V12S. The F50 was built around an engine derived directly from Ferrari's 1996 4-1 Formula One car, the same car Alain Prost drove to that season's championship. In 2002, the Enzo's V12 philosophy reflected Ferrari's era of total Formula One dominance under Michael Schumacher. In 2013, Grand Prix racing had just entered its hybrid era, and the LaFerrari carried a kinetic energy recovery system transplanted almost directly from Ferrari's Formula One machinery. The pattern runs without interruption across 4 decades. Ferrari's Special Series cars are the fullest road-legal expression of whatever Ferrari has mastered at the absolute limit of competition. The engine that earns trophies becomes the engine in the hypercar. The aerodynamic philosophy of the racing prototype becomes the body language of the road car. The technology refined in anger at the edge of what is physically possible becomes the technology delivered to your garage. Keep that doctrine in mind, because what happened next changed the argument permanently. Fact number 3. Before Ferrari designed the F80, they won Le Mans 3 times in a row. Ferrari had not won the 24 Hours of Le Mans outright since 1965, 58 years. While Porsche, Audi, and Toyota accumulated victories across the decades, Ferrari watched from the sidelines. When Ferrari returned to the top category of sports car racing in 2023 with the 499P prototype, expectations were measured. Returning after half a century is meaningful in itself. Winning immediately is something else entirely. They won immediately. In 2023, the 499P driven by Corrado Giovinazzi and Pier Guidi took the overall victory on Ferrari's first attempt back in the top class. Ferrari's first Le Mans win since 1965. In 2024, Ferrari won again, back-to-back. Foucault, Molina, and Nielsen. In 2025, a third consecutive victory. 3 straight Le Mans wins. The most prestigious endurance race on Earth. Half a century of absence erased in 3 consecutive June afternoons. The engine at the center of all of it was a twin turbocharged 3.0-liter V6 paired with an 800-volt hybrid system. Not a V12, not a V8, a V6. When Ferrari began engineering the F80, there was no internal crisis about which engine to use. That debate had been settled publicly, at full speed, in front of the entire watching world of motorsport. The V6 hybrid architecture had not merely competed at the highest level, it had dominated it 3 years running. The critics who objected to the F80's cylinder count were, without quite realizing it, objecting to the engine that had just conquered Le Mans 3 consecutive times. That is a very difficult position to hold. Fact number 4. The F80's engine does not take inspiration from the 499P race car. It is built from it. Ferrari did not study the 499P and designed something philosophically similar. They transferred the actual architecture, the crankcase, the timing chains and tensioners, the oil pump recovery circuit, the injectors and high-pressure fuel pumps, the geometry of the entire timing system. These are not interpretations. These are not derivatives. They are the same components, re-engineered for road car emissions compliance. Think about what that means for a moment. The car that won Le Mans in 2023, and in 2024, and in 2025. Its engine lives inside this road car. Not a tribute to it, not an interpretation of it, the bones of it. The engine designation is F163CF, 3 liters, a 120-degree V-angle, a configuration that drops the center of gravity low and positions the turbochargers in the hot V between the cylinder banks for compactness and efficiency. Compression ratio 9.5 to 1, 4 valves per cylinder, dual overhead camshafts per bank, dry sump lubrication, a hard rev limiter at 9,200 revolutions per minute, peak power arriving at 8,750. On its own, without a single electric motor considered, this engine produces 888 horsepower. That represents 300 horsepower per liter of displacement, the highest specific output ever achieved by any Ferrari road car engine in the company's 80-year history. Then Ferrari added 3 electric motors, 2 at the front axle, providing all-wheel drive on a special series Ferrari for the first time in the lineage's history. 1 at the rear, working alongside the combustion engine. Total combined output, 1,184 horsepower, more than double the F40, 221 horsepower beyond the LaFerrari. The most powerful road-legal Ferrari ever built. Fact number 5, the F80 solves turbo lag completely, and the solution traces directly to Formula One. Every turbocharged performance car in history has managed the delay between pressing the throttle and receiving the power. The turbocharger needs a critical mass of exhaust gas pressure and volume before it can spin its turbine fast enough to compress the incoming air. Until that threshold is reached, the engine waits. The F40 had it. An entire generation of 1980s turbocharged supercars had it. 40 years of engineering progress narrowed the delay. Nothing closed it. The F80 closes it. Each turbocharger carries a 48-volt electric motor mounted directly on the shaft, connecting the turbine and the compressor. When the throttle is pressed, before the exhaust gases have reached sufficient energy to accelerate the shaft, the electric motor spins the compressor directly. The boost pressure is present before the exhaust gases arrive to take over. The transition is seamless. The power is always there. Ferrari calls this E-Turbo. The concept derives from Formula One motor generator unit technology that has been in use since 2014. The F80 was the first Ferrari road car to receive it. The result is counterintuitive. The most powerful turbocharged road car Ferrari has ever built also has the most instantaneous throttle response of any turbocharged Ferrari ever made. An 888 horsepower engine that answers like a naturally aspirated machine. That is not a refinement. That is the resolution of a problem that has existed since the turbocharger was first applied to a performance engine. Now, before the lap time, there is something that needs to be addressed directly, something the critics raise that deserves honesty rather than deflection. The F80 does not sound like a Ferrari 512. The howl is gone. The shriek at 8,000 revolutions per minute that defined the Enzo and the LaFerrari and every naturally aspirated Ferrari flagship before them. The F80's character is different. Lower in register, more industrial, closer to a Le Mans prototype running through the French countryside in the early hours than to a grand tourer on a Tuscan mountain road. Ferrari understood exactly what they were doing. Chief Design Officer Flavio Manzoni described the F80 as deliberately futuristic rather than nostalgic. The sound is the honest acoustic identity of a 499P derived powertrain operating at the limit of road-legal engineering. Ferrari was not trying to simulate what came before. They were expressing what they had become. Some people will grieve the old sound. That feeling is legitimate. Ferrari built some of the most extraordinary music in automotive history from 12 cylinders across 5 decades, and the loss of that is real. But the F80 was never going to pretend. The sound changed because Ferrari changed. The racing program changed. The philosophy changed. The F80 is the sound of 3 consecutive Le Mans victories translated into a road car. And it carries its own character, its own presence, different from anything that preceded it. That in its own way is also a Ferrari tradition. Fact number 6. The F80's body is an aerodynamic solution that happens to look like a car. Flavio Manzoni's Style Center worked alongside the aerodynamic and engineering departments from the first day of the design process. Not consulted afterward. Present from the beginning. Every surface carries a measurable function. There is no decorative bodywork on the F80. No surface that exists purely to be beautiful. The nose carries an S-duct. Air enters beneath the front of the car, passes through a channel in the body, and exits above the hood through a slot positioned between the front wings. Front downforce generated without the drag penalty of a conventional splitter. Active flaps adjust aerodynamic load in real time, responding to speed, steering angle, and driving mode. The design came directly from the 499P racing prototype. At the rear, a large active wing deploys under load and retracts at speed to manage drag. The underbody diffuser runs 180 centimeters in length. To extract its maximum effectiveness, Ferrari rotated the entire engine and gearbox assembly 1.3 degrees within the chassis. One geometric decision, a measurably larger volume of air drawn beneath the car, more rear downforce, no additional drag. At 155 miles per hour, the combined aerodynamic package presses the car into the road with 2,205 pounds of force. The car weighs 3,362 pounds. At that speed, it is generating downforce equal to 2/3 of its own body weight. Numbers that belong on factory racing prototypes. Worn here by a car carrying a full emission certification. The Easter eggs are precise. 3 pairs of horizontal slats on the engine cover, 6 cylinders beneath them, 8 longitudinal slats along the body sides. One for each decade Ferrari has existed. Nothing here is accidental. Everything was placed with intent. Fact number 7. The F80 lapped Fiorano in 1 minute 15.3 seconds. Sit with that number for a moment. Fiorano is Ferrari's private test circuit in Maranello. 1.86 miles of tarmac that has served as the definitive internal benchmark for Ferrari road car performance for more than 50 years. Every car that leaves Maranello earns a Fiorano lap time. It is the hierarchy made permanent. The official record of where each generation stands. The Enzo lapped it in 1 minute 25 seconds. A naturally aspirated V12. $659,000 of Ferrari at the peak of the Schumacher era. Extraordinary. The LaFerrari ran 1 minute 19.7. A hybrid V12. 963 horsepower. Kinetic energy recovery from Formula One. At the time called the greatest Ferrari ever built. The F80 ran 1 minute 15.3. On road-legal Pirelli tires, full emissions compliance, passenger seat fitted, air conditioning, a stereo. 4.4 seconds faster than the LaFerrari, nearly 10 seconds faster than the Enzo. On the tires it came with, the F80's Fiorano time is faster than the Ferrari F80, a car sold exclusively as a track-only experience, stripped of every road-legal requirement, built with no concession to public use whatsoever. The F80, which you can register, insure, and drive on a public road, is quicker around Ferrari's own circuit than a car that was never legally permitted on one. It comes within a few seconds of the 333 SP, a full factory racing prototype running on competition slick tires under sports car racing regulations with no road car compromises of any kind. The V6 produced that number on road tires against a world that had already decided what it thought. This was the moment the argument ended. The lap time addressed the critics the way Ferrari has always addressed critics, quietly, permanently, without commentary. 1 minute 15.3 seconds required no explanation. The V6 had answered. Fact number 8. Lewis Hamilton called it the fastest road car he had ever driven. Charles Leclerc said its balance was the best he had experienced in any car. Ferrari invited both of their Formula One drivers to test the F80 at Fiorano. Hamilton, a 7-time world champion and the most successful Formula One driver in the sport's history by race victories. Leclerc, an 8-time Grand Prix winner and Ferrari's lead driver since 2019. Between them, they have accumulated more hours inside the fastest machinery on the planet than almost any two people alive. Their reactions were filmed at Fiorano, unscripted, unguarded. Hamilton described the F80 as the fastest road car Ferrari has done for sure, and its performance as on another level. Leclerc called its balance and handling the best he had experienced in any car. These are not marketing claims. These are the assessments of two people who spend their working lives in cars producing over 1,000 horsepower on slick tires, with full aerodynamic downforce and no road-legal concessions whatsoever. The F80 reached them anyway. Fact number 9. The numbers: 0 to 62 miles per hour, 2.15 seconds. 0 to 124 miles per hour, 5.75 seconds. The F40 needed approximately 12. Top speed: 217 miles per hour, electronically limited. Dry weight: 3,362 pounds. Lighter than the SF90 straight ale despite producing 184 more horsepower. Downforce at 155 miles per hour, 2,205 pounds. Specific output of the combustion engine alone, 300 horsepower per liter. A figure never achieved before on a Ferrari road car. No pure electric mode. Every system in service of the act of driving. The F80 is a combustion car with electrification deployed as a precision performance instrument, not a hybrid with combustion attached as a concession. The LaFerrari was called the ultimate Ferrari 11 years ago. The F80 is faster off the line, faster around Fiorano, and lighter, despite significantly more power. These figures no longer sound physically reasonable. Every one of them is official. Every one of them is documented. Fact number 10. Ferrari called the F80 the ultimate engineering expression of an internal combustion engine vehicle. Not the most powerful, not the fastest. Those facts are documented and undeniable. But Ferrari did not reach for those words. They chose ultimate expression of an internal combustion engine vehicle. That phrase has never appeared in a Ferrari press release before. Not for the F40, not for the Enzo, not for the LaFerrari. A company that has built combustion engines for 80 years does not use the word ultimate to describe something it intends to surpass within the same lineage. The timeline is documented and moving. Emissions regulations across Europe tighten on a fixed schedule. Ferrari has confirmed that fully electric vehicles are part of the product roadmap. The window in which a road car can carry a 9,200 revolutions per minute combustion engine, generate a sound that registers as something worth preserving, and still meet global certification requirements is narrowing, measurably, annually. The F80 occupies that window precisely. A 3.0-liter V6 revving toward 9,000 revolutions per minute. An 800-volt hybrid system managing energy with Formula One precision. Full emissions compliance. The most sophisticated combustion powertrain Ferrari has ever built. And Ferrari looked at all of it and chose the word ultimate. If that language means what it appears to mean, then the cars that follow in this lineage will carry less combustion and more electricity. The specific output will keep climbing, but the revs will fall. The mechanical howl that built Ferrari's mythology across 8 decades will slowly become something you experience only through archived recordings and the memories of people who were there. 799 people will own an F80. When the car arrives and they open the garage door and hear that Le Mans-derived V6 wake up for the first time, some of them will feel the weight of the moment. Some will not. Not yet. But the car they are standing next to is the end of a specific and unrepeatable conversation between Ferrari and the internal combustion engine. A conversation that began in a small workshop in Maranello in 1947 and was conducted at full volume on public roads and racing circuits for the better part of a century. Or Ferrari will surprise everyone. They have done it before. They will do it again. But if the F80 is what it appears to be, then Maranello sent the combustion era out the only way it deserved, at 9,200 revolutions per minute, in the red, with a Le Mans record and a Fiorano lap time that silenced an argument the world had already decided was settled. Ferrari did not argue. Ferrari did not explain. Ferrari drove. If you like our content, please like and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you next time.